Cats, what's good? Saturday afternoon musings of a Joe Schmo. We're going to touch on a couple topics here. The introduction of the Pelosi Act in Congress, and everything is racist, right? But you know the deal. You want to hit? There you go.
Everything is racist according to me. Everything is racist.
Good afternoon, savages. Welcome in. Thanks for coming. Feeling a bit better today. Hope you'll see. We'll touch on a couple topics. We're going to start off with Josh Hawley introducing his Pelosi Act, right? Couldn't have been named after a better person. I'm sure you'll come to agree. Named after, obviously, Nancy Pelosi for such activities as a $250 million personal net worth on a congressional salary. Her husband recently investing $5 million into a semiconductor manufacturer just days before the Senate passed a bill to subsidize that industry. Most recent example, signed off by old Nance herself, was the dumping of millions of dollars in Google stock. Again, just days before the Department of Justice came out and announced an antitrust lawsuit was being launched, which saw the price of that stock drop 6% in the first hours, right? Per coincidence? Per capitalism. Nope, it's pure insider trading. You know what I mean? They'll tell me it ain't. This is legit legislators divesting or investing in industries that they have oversight. You know what I mean? Kick you in the nips. All right. So this is not really, based off of, aimed at one person. It's actually called the Preventing Elected Leaders from Owning Securities and Investments Act. So Pelosi in jest, but nail on the head, right? This is a bipartisan situation, and this bill is aimed at current legislators that have been able to consistently win in the market, right? And, to the tune of many millions of dollars, but you can see Nancy's not even at the top of that, and you'll see douchebag Eye Patch McCain on that list as well. Not surprising in the least. So this is aimed at current legislators and their families, right? This would prevent, legislators, their children's spouses, from owning and trading stock during their tenure. It would give newly elected spots 6 months to divest or put their investments in a blind trust that cannot be touched for their term. Those found in violation would be forced to forfeit their profits over to the U.S. Treasury, face steep fines, and not be able to claim losses on their taxes, right? So, great step in the right direction. Let's get rid of some of the incentive for, corruption in the state here. And just know that this is one of the reasons that we have the WEF and the EU coupled with big tech, trying so hard to censor and sanitize the internet, is because this type of information wasn't available to the average person until recently. And they want to hide the actions of the lizard overlords so they can enrich themselves and their people at the cost of your grandchildren and your country's sovereignty. All right, moving on. Every damn thing you see is racist, right? And we'll start off by saying, if that is the case, if you see racism or just race, period, in the most minuscule of things, a mayonnaise, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at school lunches, you are the fucking problem, and you are the racist, all right? But, since the last couple years, you've seen a massive uptick, reaching a crescendo here, that everything is white supremacy's and everything is whitey's fault. You even have white people trying to score, moral grandstand points and shit, selling out their own people, everything racism. And they're even using it for in politics and also with atrocities, right? It's become just one large grift, and nobody is held accountable for it. Okay? And some examples, like recent mass casualty events in California against groups of Asians. Horrible shit. You hate to see this happen to anyone or anywhere. But, when the news first broke of these events, it was Trumpsicles, it was, the right wing, it was the NRA, the Second Amendment. We got to do something about white supremacies. Then it turns out that it was Asians pulling the trigger. You know what I mean? The most recent one here, blowing up over the weekend, a lot of debate and coverage, the Tyree Nichols situation. Again, absolute horror. Your heart goes out to this young dude's family. Okay? Regardless of any actions that he may have committed, just like all of us, right? This dude has a family that's going to be hurt and fucked up over the situation. But, when the news broke again, this kid was beat to death by police, 5 police officers. It was, stereotypical racisms that you see from the police in this country. Let's burn this bitch down. Then the footage is released. All the police involved are black. And instead of rescinding the situation or trying to diffuse it in any way, boom, double down. Per CNN, the police are black, but it still could be racially charged in Supremacies. Like, dude, I fucking hate Supreme pizzas. You know what I'm saying? But, it's just a grift. It's a money-making scheme. If this went away, they would lose their cash cow, and, leftist politicians would lose their path to power. They'd lose the power to fearmonger. You know what I'm saying? This is, statistically, this whole, white supremacy and white hate crimes, it just is non-existent. You know what I mean? And, you can use the argument that, statistically more white people are killed every year by law enforcement than any other group, right? Well, they'll tell you, well, that's easily explained away by the fact that whites as a group are the larger representative of the country. Right? Well, then what if you use 16% of the population commits 55 to 60% of the violent crimes? That's racist, dude. You know what I mean? And it's a vicious cycle that you'll never win because they don't want anyone to win. They just want to be paid. They want 5 minutes of fame. They want to be on CNN. You know what I mean? They want to go virals. You know what I'm saying? And if you pay attention, like you have these alphabet soup, representatives coming out on, CNN, MSNBC, telling you to be afraid, telling you white supremacy, but you use their own statistics to prove their argument moot. You know what I mean? And again, that's what the reparations situation. And you could say, well, we've already paid reparations, man. I mean, you figure, Section 8, child care vouchers, health care, food stamps, cash vouchers. I mean, again, and then they'll try to use statistics. Well, more white people collect than, the statistic, and you flip it again. And whites are the larger representative group and pay the vast majority of taxes. Oh, racisms! You know what I'm saying? I mean, so, you could never win in this situation. The only thing that they want is a fucking payout and, to be able to blame you. You know what I mean? And you see the obvious, like the Smollett's, the bubble with NASCAR. But take yourself over to fakehatecrimes.org and scroll around and let it sink in how much that this is just a grift and how often it's tried and found to be bullshit. All right? So you guys can argue with me, debate me in the comments, tell me to fuck off, call me a racist. I give 2 shits. All right? Smell you later.